Before we get into the episode, I just want to give a content warning that we are going to be discussing themes in the film which include sexual violence and consent. So if any of that is triggering, then please take care when listening. Hi everyone, welcome back to Frank Film Club. We are so excited today. If I'm on a wide shot, who's that?
Who's that?
Who is it? We're doing How to Have Sex today, which we are very excited and honoured to have Mia McKenna Bruce, the star, Tara, joining us for the episode. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
So we're going to be speaking about one of my favourite films of the year for sure, and definitely loved the second watch even more than the first watch, which we'll dive into your thoughts and everything. And we can't wait to get some insider knowledge as well on everything, how you were cast and the chemistry and being on set and how it was all shot and what the themes mean to you and all of us as women. So I'll read the logline of How to Have Sex. 3 British teenage girls go on a rites of passage holiday, drinking, clubbing and hooking up in what should be the best summer of their lives. As they dance their way across the sun-drenched streets of Malia, they find themselves navigating the complexities of sex, consent and self-discovery. The film is written and directed by Molly Manning Walker. It was her debut feature, wow. Starring Mia McKenna Bruce, Sean Thomas, Lara Peake, Amber Lewis, Samuel Bottomley. Has done really well. So premiered at Cannes, where it won the Uncertain Regard Award. Was nominated for Outstanding British Film, Outstanding Debut at the BAFTAs and Best Casting at the BAFTAs. And Mia won the EE Rising Star Award.
Yeah. Still crazy.
Still very crazy, but very cool. And also lots of BIFA wins and lots of other great wins.
Accolades through the roof.
Galore.
Accolades through the roof.
If you haven't seen this film already, you can watch it on Mubi. Please go and watch it and let us know what you think. And yeah, I'm excited to get into it. Before we start, how are you all doing? How are you?
Yeah, great. Chuffed to be here, to be honest. Yeah. Very good.
We're so glad to have you. It's nice for us to have a guest. We haven't had a guest in a long time.
Yeah.
We haven't seen anyone in
Speak to us. No, it's so good because we did the press run, like, finished at the BAFTAs was like the last thing.
Right.
So I haven't actually spoke about the film for a while. And obviously we were talking about it constantly with the press. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have to just grab people on the street and be like, talk to me about this film. So I'm really glad to be talking about it again.
Because when you're in the press run, you get into like certain answers. Has anything changed in your mind or like...
Yeah, I think stuff changed and like you figure stuff out kind of as you go. Because obviously certain questions trigger like different like thoughts about the film, but also hearing, because I did a lot of Q&As with Molly, so hearing her answers as well, and then we'd like steal each other's answers quite a lot, which was fun for the other one.
Cool. I was going to start by asking you all if you went on one of these holidays or if this film, big question, but like how do you relate to this story? If it feels nostalgic to you or like when you read the script, you know, what was your first thoughts on it?
Yeah, definitely. I think my first thoughts were kind of, first of all, yes, I went on holidays like this and like reading it straight away, I was like, okay, Molly knows what she's talking about here. Like it felt like you're reading a conversation more than a script, more than anything, which is what I really loved about it. And then for me, Tara in particular, there was like a line in the film in the script that I don't think made it into the film about her being small. And I know this sounds so crazy, but I'm small in stature. And I always felt like I had to make up for my lack of height with personality. Like particularly growing up, it was always like being like the loudest in the room or like trying to be funny or like, because otherwise I feel like people just wouldn't know I was there. And it really felt like that when I was reading Tara, and it felt like, you know, this ability that she had to kind of talk her way out of anything or like hold a room. It really was like, okay, I see where she's coming from with this. And yeah, for me, I was like, I really get that and would love to explore that more with Molly. And then I met Molly after my first tape, and I was just like, please let me work with her because she's incredible.
Yeah.
Where did you go on your holidays?
I think Ibiza was my first one. I did go. See, this is how messy they were. I went somewhere in Greece. And it might have been Malia. I don't even know.
I feel like at that age you don't really take.
Yeah.
You're definitely not going for the culture.
Yeah, but also I'm that person that's like, if someone says, oh, let's plan this, I'm like, yeah, okay, and I'll never actually get around to doing it. Like, I've got to be kind of told, like, this is what we're doing when, like, so my friends are very much just like, okay, this is the flight, we're getting on it. So there was definitely somewhere we went that was in Greece, but I don't know where exactly. Could have been Malia.
But you shot in Malia.
Yeah, we did shoot in Malia.
Did any of it ring a bell?
Well, this is the thing as well. Like, it was also very similar to the strip in Ibiza.
Yeah.
Like, they're all very, very similar, aren't they? So it was like, could have been anywhere. And all the music as well. You're just like, whoa, I'm back. And we all felt like, a lot of people have asked, were you lot actually drunk when you were filming that? And it was like, no, we were professional. But we just, being there and with the music and everything, it was like being 17 again, and especially being with each other. And the main thing was, for me in particular, I was just hyper. I was so excitable the whole time that was where the drunkenness kind of came into it.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely want to come back to that because I think it's some of the best drunk acting I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Which is so hard to do.
And hungover acting.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, the hungover acting, again, it was hot and stuff. So that was like, there was so much of the way that they set the film that just helped us be fully there.
Yeah.
It made our job so much easier. And again, just like, it was like the perfect storm in terms of like the location, the crew, the cast, everything was just like, everyone threw themselves in 110%.
Yeah. But you can feel that off the screen for sure. Yeah.
Did you ever go on a holiday like that?
I went to Magaluf.
Of course.
And this film really brought back a lot of memories. And not even just of like going on these holidays, but just being young. And I tell you what this film does really well is validate young girls who are drunk, their experiences.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you go on a holiday like this?
No.
I didn't either, but my group of friends did, but I didn't go. But like, it does still like really remind me of that time, like when you just finish it, or like towards the end of school at that kind of teenage, and it's just, you think back to it and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe that those things happened. And that like, and looking back, you like feel bad on yourself. Well,
Yeah.
And like, oh my God, I can't believe that I did that.
Yeah.
Or like that,
Yeah.
Definitely that feeling of like being so grown up, and then you look back and you realize like you were just a kid and you were trying to like hold everything together. Like that, I think, really set in the film. And
quite heartbreaking.
like totally, and you just like play everything off like at that age, like this is normal, like this is like what being a grown up is, and it's like, yeah, it kind of it was really just like quite overwhelming, like the experience of watching these three girls, because you all looked like babies, and it's just like really powerful.
Yeah, I think as well, like the friendships was something that really like the stuff that you put up with from your friends, and like you take a beating at that age.
Yeah.
And it's like, just because like you say, you think, oh, this is what adults do, or I've declared these people as my best friends, so therefore they have to be, because we've said like best friends for life, so therefore we need to be best friends for life, whatever that means. And I think, I remember when you start to figure out the friends that aren't necessarily healthy for you, and that is just such a heartbreaking time, but also such a breakthrough in your life, I think. And to seeing, I think for Tara in particular, seeing her at that point, I'm like, I hope she goes home and figures out like what's good for her. That's not Sky.
And that's what I think this film did so amazingly, is look at like a toxic feminine relationship. And I don't feel like many films do that well, and it does. And it felt so real in like the most awful way, the relationship between Tara and Sky.
Yeah.
And I feel like I bet all of us have had that kind of relationship, and it's awful.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hadn't seen it before, so that was really cool.
Yeah, I think Molly really wanted something she set out from the beginning. She really wanted it to be like no blame was on one person throughout the film. It was like trying to show that pressures, particularly on young people, come from all over. and from every angle. So I think that was, really important for her to highlight. Which again, I think it's kind of resonated with so many people.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like judgmental on anybody, even on oh god, what's his name? No, even on Paddy.
Paddy.
Like
Yeah.
I didn't hate him.
Yeah. And that's it. Like the thing was to get people to recognize themselves in Paddy. If you make him a monster, then it's easy to just switch off and disassociate. Yeah, exactly. Whereas there has been a lot of people saying that they have recognized themselves in Paddy, and that's a huge thing. Yeah. And such an amazing thing, because hopefully, then
that causes
that
change.
Yeah,
that
is
exactly.
Huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the realization that maybe you've been a Tara and you've been in that situation is great for your own personal development. But if you can touch somebody who's more connected to Paddy, you can change.
That's where it changes. Yeah, exactly. Wow. Yeah, it's been such an eye opener as a person as well. Just kind of doing a film that does have the potential to make these changes and has done for a lot of people, because it's been going to schools and stuff as well, which is amazing. Really good. And it's like, wow, like film does have the power to do that, and I think that's just incredible.
And so Molly being able to like write and direct this, like it's really complex to be able to see all of those relationships and understand them in a non-judgmental way. Like, is she just like that? She just like gets people?
Yeah.
What is that?
Molly's like, I don't even know, like she's just one of those people that has no idea how exceptional she is. Like she's amazing, and I think that was another thing that made the film so special that I think comes across on screen as well, because she made the set so open, so safe, so loving for everybody. Like everyone just each day was turning up and wanting to be like, give it my all, because we all wanted to do that for Molly.
Yeah.
And it also stopped anyone kind of thinking about the aftermath of the film in terms of like where it might go, what it might do, anything like that. Everyone was just present there doing this because we knew like what Molly wanted to do with it, kind of thing. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Which it's just a testament to her. She's just incredible.
I loved looking into how this film came about, and you can definitely help me with this. But I've read that Molly was speaking to some old school friends who went on a girls' holiday like this, or a group of men went on holiday together. And the scene with Badger on the stage was something that they had all seen.
Yeah. And so that's what they'd all seen. And they were having this, I think they were at a friend's wedding and they were talking about it, and it kind of came up. And Molly said she remembered feeling at the time so awkward and uncomfortable, but didn't want to voice it at the time because she thought everyone else was like having a great time. And then when they had this conversation like recently, realised that they were all actually feeling very uncomfortable, and that's where it started, because it's like, okay, so we were all kind of putting on this front of we're having a great time when actually no one was. That's how it started for her. And then she wrote, I think she wrote it during lockdown, or started it during lockdown. Yeah.
Right.
Because I remember when I was younger, I went to this place called, I think it was called Gassy Jack's, and they used to have this thing on.
I lovely.
I'm going there. Yeah. And they had this thing called Naked Tuesdays, and people would get up on stage, a boy and a girl, every Tuesday, and they would like play different games until one of them was naked.
Oh,
and they were so drunk, like they could not give consent for like doing that.
Yeah.
It was awful. So, and we just thought like,
you just think, oh, like particularly because you're at that age of like figuring yourself out, you go like, oh, this must be what it must be like to be older now, because you're on that like, oh, everyone else thinks this is normal, so no one wants to be the person that goes, this isn't right, or I don't feel right about this, because we don't have those conversations. I've said it quite a few times, but like I never remember having any conversation at school about consent. Like they'll sit there and talk to you about the biology of sex or whatever, but never once was like any kind of emotions or consent a conversation at all. And something that we spoke about quite a lot, you mentioned earlier, like has kind of some of the answers like evolved or changed for the Q&As and stuff that we've been doing. Something that we've kind of spoke about is enthusiastic consent. So like in the first beach scene with Tara and Paddy, she eventually says yes, but it's not an enthusiastic yes because she said no. And it's not like you don't just keep asking until you get your yes. Which has been a real eye-opener as well, because that was something that I didn't even really process when I was reading the script or when I filmed it. It was only when we were talking about it that I go, yeah, she actually said no so many times, and that just wasn't taken as her final answer. So I was yes, the final answer, and no wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, I feel like there was so much discussion around like consent, and like I feel like the I know like the tagline of it was no means no.
Yeah.
And like it's great when these movements kind of distill down to like something that's like very simple and direct, but quite often like these cases are like not black and white, and it's not like straightforward. So it feels like this film really dares to like say yes and still mean no. And like that's really powerful, I think, for young people to see, like to see the like see that behavior in front of them before they live it, because then they go no means no, but I did say yes, so maybe I'm still the one in the wrong. And it's like it's just a lot more than that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think for Tara as well, like there's definitely like we're with her when she's figuring it out, and I think, you know, there was part of her that was like, did I do something wrong? And I think it's so important for, like, I've got a sister that's 16, and it's so important for her to kind of see films like this and go like, no, I didn't do anything. Like, she can watch that and go, Tara absolutely did nothing wrong there. So hopefully then other young people can watch it and go like, no, I did not do anything wrong. But yeah, I think, like you say, like it's not black and white. So it's really important that those stories are shown as well, where I think you get to see, I think another, I'm sorry, jumping around all over the place, but another huge thing for me when we were filming it was like, with the friendships and with the consent and everything, is like, particularly at that age, you don't realise, you're in such your own bubble, you don't realise how your actions affect other people so much and can stay with them for the rest of your life. And I think at that age, you just don't even comprehend that. No. So I think it's so important to see that as well, like the ripple effects of like, your actions, what they can do to someone is huge.
Yeah.
There was one question we were asked, like, oh, what would the one takeaway from the film be? And Molly said it once, and I was just like, yes. And it was like, just to be a kinder person, like in all ways, you know, just to actually have respect for other people, I think is where it actually boils down to.
Yeah. And also what you said earlier as well about like not speaking up when you feel uncomfortable. And I know that's something of like that age, because it's huge to speak out if you're uncomfortable. But like, that was something that I took away from this, was like, like question things.
Yeah.
It's good to question things, and because more often than not, people will also be like, oh yeah, I thought that's you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's just I think that's the best way for people to see it, is to see it on screen and go, oh, that does happen.
Yeah.
And like, it's okay for me to voice what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
So tell us a little bit about what is happening with the scores then. So is that something that was always planned, or was it the impact that...
Yeah, I think it was always something that Molly really wanted to do with it, because they started initially, before the script was finished, they started taking it to, I think they were doing like focus groups with young people and giving them a few of the scenes from the film. It was actually how they got it financed, because when they were initially trying to get it made, people were like, there's already things like sex education that exist. And then so they took it to these focus groups, and a lot of the kids were like, hadn't seen sex education, because a lot of the stuff that they watch is on YouTube now as well. So it's like, we need as much stuff as we can get out there. And then they were reading the assault scenes, is what they were given, the scripts, and a lot of them were like, didn't see it as an assault. A lot of them were like, well, she shouldn't have been drunk. She should have been wearing more clothes. She's putting herself in that situation. And a lot of these were young girls as well saying that. And then that's when Molly was like, see, there's a problem.
Yeah. Wow.
And that's when they were like, yeah, like there is. We do need to get this film made. So there was always kind of they wanted to take it to schools because they knew that that's who needed to see it. Wow. But obviously that's very difficult with the curriculum and everything. But there's a charity they're working with now I don't know exactly how it works. I think the schools have to approach. And I think it's gone into, the last time I spoke about it, it was like 180 schools it was in. Wow. And it was making, you know, it just gives space for young people to have these conversations that you wouldn't otherwise have, because who has that language to kind of just dive in and talk about consent or their feelings surrounding sex? Like, you just don't. So Molly went to watch one session at school, and they didn't tell the class that Molly was the director of the film, and she just sat at the back. And it was quite a rowdy, this is in her words, this is her, like, she's told this story. And it was quite a rowdy classroom, like they're like standing on chairs, throwing stuff, you know. And then they watched the film, and all of a sudden, like, it just sprung this really intellectual debate between these like 16-year-olds that was just like, she said it was just crazy to see them kind of have the language to kind of fight this out in a completely respectful and amicable way. Because there was like some people in the class like, I don't see what the problem was. And then instead of anyone lecturing to them, like, this is what the problem is and this is why you should feel bad about it, it was like they were discussing it amongst themselves and being like, but why can't you see that she's upset by that? Why do you want to make someone feel upset? And, you know, hearing it from people your age is when you're really going to listen.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Like, because when at that age you want to listen to people that are older than you.
Yeah, the scaremongering is like, it just like switches kids off. Fully.
Yeah, switches kids off. And also because they're lecturing you about everything, it's like, okay, just pile that in with everything else.
Right.
Whereas if you're actually having those conversations with your mates, it's like, okay, this actually means something to me and it means something to my friends.
Yeah.
So it's so important.
Isn't it
That's
wild
huge.
that we think that younger people are so much more progressive than, you know, times when we were in school and, you know, that's varying times in the last however long, you know, since we all went to school. But that's wild to me that they are still like victim blaming, really.
Yeah.
Like, that's so ingrained in girls and boys.
Yeah, like where did we go so wrong with that? And that's what we really need to, again, why Molly didn't want to make it any kind of blame game, because it's also on on people like Paddy's character, where they're learning sex wrong as well. Like, it's the pressure's on them to kind of know what to do, and, you know, it's a lot on, they've got to figure it out themselves as well, because those conversations aren't being had. So it's like, we need to go back to basics of how we learn to have sex, and that's why it's called How to Have Sex. Even though a lot of people have gone and been like, but I didn't learn actually how to have sex. So, but yeah, it needs to go back to basics and actually address the fact that feelings are involved, and it's not just, you know, the act of. Yeah. Young people don't get enough credit for, you know, being able to have these tools to have these conversations surrounding sex and consent. So it's like, we can have those conversations in schools. I think schools are scared. They're like, do the biology side of it and not talk about anything that actually affects feelings.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, there is that kind of just like reluctancy to acknowledge it. And I feel like that was the issue with like even just intimate scenes in film for such a long time, that it's like, it's on the schedule and it's all coming up, and like intimacy coordinators were not a thing. And it was so just like, you know, okay, and like now you're gonna act like the way that you always do, and it's like as if we're not doing something that's like incredibly like awkward, and like how are we gonna do this though? And it's like not a discussion that people were freely having, because it's so tied to like this quiet private part of our lives that we don't discuss at work, and we don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and I
exactly
feel,
that.
Yeah, I feel like it's something that needs to happen just like across the board. We have the like implication of intimacy coordinators now. How was it to work with an intimacy coordinator? Like, what did they do to keep this safe?
Yeah,
and like,
it was amazing. And we had the intimacy coordinator work with us from rehearsals, so before we even got to Malia to shoot.
Yeah.
And all of the sex scenes were like choreographed, like beat by beat, which is amazing because it makes it as unawkward as it can possibly be.
Yeah, it's just like it's movement.
Exactly, that's it. And me and Sam, who played Paddy as well, like we just had this really special bond between us and kind of checking in all the way along, which was really beautiful. And also like Molly really wanted to make it not graphic and make it more about Tara's emotions as well. So for me, it was more about kind of figuring out that where Tara would have been at in that minute, you know. But I think for Sam, it was really interesting because the first read through that we did all together, Sam and Sean, it really affected them a lot, and they've spoke about this, but it really affected them a lot because, and again, this was another eye-opener in doing it that I just never thought about before. For them, this side of things, like Tara's emotions that we go through in the film, they'd never really had to think about that before. They'd never really had to sit with that before. And for myself, like Lara, Ember, Molly, it all felt quite familiar, you know? Like you've had these conversations, your friends, like people have these stories or versions of, and they're not worlds away. Whereas for Sam and Sean, when they read it, they were like, it really took them some time to kind of, actually the whole shoot really, they were adjusting all the way along. And they were really, they found it really, really tough. So I think the intimacy coordination was amazing because, I jumped around, but like the intimacy coordination was amazing because we were dealing with the emotions of it, but taking out the kind of physical awkwardness. So it allowed us to kind of figure out that emotional side of it.
Yeah.
Which is obviously really important for a film like this.
Definitely.
Yeah. But it's just mental that like the intimacy coordination has only been a thing recently. Like it's just, like you'd never ask someone to go into a fight scene without a fight coordinator and just go like, come on, you're acting, punch each other. Like it's crazy. Yeah. So it makes such a difference, I think, in my experience anyway. It's made such a difference to kind of allow you to actually do the acting side of it when you're not having to think about the sex side of it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Because this is so recent, intimacy coordinators, did you ever do these scenes before this was a thing?
Yeah, I did a sex scene when I was 16 without an intimacy coordinator.
That's crazy.
Yeah, with someone who
insane.
was over 18.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's like, that's mad.
Yeah, it was no nudity.
Yeah.
But yeah. Like, and there was another scene in the same film where there was lots of like kissing happening, and like, it was so awkward, and I like didn't know what to do, and like we're rehearsing, and then it's like, okay, well, like action, and it's just like, do I kiss him now?
Yeah.
Like this is like a rehearsal, like is that weird? And like, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, that's horrible.
And also one of the actors on set was dating one of the girls on set, like from like not like from the movie, like just they were in a relationship and they both got cast in it. And I was just like, it was a lot.
That is a lot. And it's so scary because it is that thing as well. Like, that's what's good about intimacy coordinators. They're like, you put your hands here. Like, it's literally to the, like, everything is thought about so that you don't have to be like, oh, I don't know what to do. My hands don't know which way to go. Don't know when to kiss them. Like, the intimacy coordinator will be like, we're not kissing for the rehearsal. We're kissing just for the actual shoot. They'll kind of say, okay, we've done it X amount of times now. You don't need to do it anymore. Like, they'll even step in to say to the director, like, they've done it enough now. So they bridge that gap. So that no one's having to kind of be like, I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, because it's like, I don't know, it's like not something usually in your mind when you're like being intimate where you think about how you look. Like it's more, it's like something that's like personal and like lovely. But then there's like a million people watching to see how it looks. And you're like, how does it look? Can someone just tell me what's like the vibe here? Yeah. And they're like, well, if you go like this and it looks like your feet are too far apart, and it just makes it so easy.
Yeah, exactly.
And then because you're just like, I want this scene to look good. Like,
Yeah.
Depends on the scene. Yeah, but like, I want it to like work and flow. I want it to like be a like impactful scene.
Yeah.
But like when that's like confronted with actually kissing someone in real life, you're like, I don't want them to think that I'm, you know.
Yeah.
So it's just like someone to be there to be like, let's make this fucking wicked.
Yeah.
But let's not get shy and embarrassed and like, you know, put on the spot, like let's just make this.
Yeah, exactly.
Direct it.
And it feels like like a collaboration. So you don't feel like it's just like you two trying to navigate, like kissing each other or having sex with each other and going like, oh, like you're more forward than I was.
Yeah.
All of this. So yeah, it is like
Yeah.
why it wasn't a thing.
Yeah,
But
it's
there we
great.
are. Yeah.
When and like I haven't worked with loads of intimacy coordinators, but the ones that I've worked with have been like really good at it. And I'm sure that it's like there's lots of different people.
Yeah.
But like they're so good.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, like I don't have to think about this.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah.
Like this scene can become another like great scene that we make rather than something that I'm just like dreading.
Yeah,
coming
exactly.
up.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we'd love to know how you came to be on the project, and really especially interested in chemistry and chemistry reads, because it's just, well, Isabella was nominated for the BAFTA.
so great.
She's amazing.
She's so glorious.
So yeah, how did it come to be? What was the process?
So I first taped for it in the before Christmas, which would have been before Christmas 2021. Good maths. And I was working on something else at the time, and I was back for Christmas break, and I'd been sent a few scripts, and my agent was kind of like, don't worry too much if you've got a bit too much going on and you just want to rest. But I read How to Have Sex, and I was like, no, I really want to tape for this. So I sent over a tape, and then they asked for a TikTok video as well, because obviously, like I said, there was a lot of TikTok involved in the initial script. And I was like, I have no idea. I was like, TikTok is a whole unknown world to me. Cue the little sisters. I was like, girls, I need some help. What does this mean? And we did some video that was like, best friend, I'm killing him, whatever that is.
Yeah, know it well.
I don't know that well. We'll find it. Okay.
And then I was like, okay, how do I make this kind of good? And I've got a little dog, and I was like, no one doesn't love dogs, so I like got my dog in it. That was like my best friend, and it was awful. But I had to send it, and somehow Molly was like, yeah, and then called me in for a meeting with her, and we like hit it off. And apparently she was sat in a cafe before, and I went in and ordered a coffee before, and she was like, she knew it was me, but I was in my own bubble, I think probably running my lines in my head or something. She was like, I didn't know whether to say something, and then you sat like right in front of me, and I was like, oh, I literally had no idea.
She was like observing you when you didn't know you were being watched.
And then met her and just hit it off. But then there was a bit of a concern, because I'm like 10 years older than Tara's character. And so there was a bit of a concern about my age. They had to get me back in and talk to me to see if like I was just like quite young, I think. So we did like a bit of improv. It was me, Molly, and Isabella. And Isabella's amazing, because I hate auditions. I absolutely hate them. They send me into this whole like relentless. It's awful. Every time I'm sat outside an audition, I'm like, why do I do this? This is hell.
I've never acted.
But Isabella was amazing. Like, she's like super chill, and I can't remember what it was, but I had to like, we improv this thing, like me pretending to come home drunk to my mum to kind of see like if I'd be, I guess, young enough to have a mum.
Yeah.
That I was coming home to. I don't know. And then after that one, they were like, yeah, we'd love you to join the project. So I think this would have been about February. And then from February to when we from February to when we started rehearsals in August, I was doing chemistry reads with other...
The whole time?
Yeah, pretty much.
Whoa.
And each time they were like, sorry for bringing you in again. I'm like, no, I love this. Because it was like, we were just workshopping all these scenes from the script. I was like, this is an actor's dream.
You're never going to have to learn your lines now.
Oh my God,
you know
it was
them
brilliant, literally. Brilliant. And also getting to play them out, all these scenes with all these other amazing actors, and seeing kind of how Tara would respond to these different people was really, really fun. And a lot of it was improv, which again, huge fear of mine, but kind of helped me get over it.
Really?
Yeah, I hated improv.
Wow.
It petrified me.
You're so good at it.
But I think because like from quite young, it was always, when I did Tracy Biko when I was quite young, it was very fast paced. So it was like, very like, know exactly what you're saying, blah, 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 like word by word. There was no improv, no room to kind of ad lib or anything. So I think I got really, really used to that. So then the idea of improv absolutely sent me west. And then all of these chemistry reads pretty much, we'd do like a scene and then like loads of improv. So it really helped me get over that. And it was really, really fun. And I loved it. And I was like, no, let's do more of this. I'm having the best time. Yeah. And then I chemistry read with Lara, who plays Sky, quite early on. And she is comedy gold. Like, I was literally on the floor laughing. I can't even remember what she said, but she was making me die. And that was quite early on, and she was cast. And then we did loads and loads. We met loads and loads of different actors for M, who were incredible. But then Enver came in the week before we started rehearsals, and she came in, and it was just like, there's M. Like, her energy immediately was just M. And yeah, Molly texted me straight after that day of chemistry reads and was like, we found M today, didn't we? And I was like, yeah, it's Enver. And she was like, yeah. And then, yeah, we started the rehearsals. Oh, and I did a chemistry read with Sam and Sean as well.
Oh, you did chemistry with Sam?
Yeah, and it was so funny because we did this chemistry read, and it was the build up to the beach scene Assault, where we're in the sea before, and there's a bit where he like Paddy like slaps Tara on the bum, and Sam was really like, I don't know what to do. And then like he was like, and they're like hugging and stuff. And like, so we just had a conversation before, like of like where like, you know, how we'd play out the scene. But even that was really nice, just to kind of, even in the rehearsal stages, have this really nice kind of respect for each other before like we'd even got to rehearsals or anything. And then we had to improv, me, Lara, Sam and Sean did this improv of us coming back from a night out drunk. And we ended up all doing like the work. I don't know, it just like, it really went somewhere. And it was just so much fun. And yeah, we all just clicked. Kind of boring, but we just clicked. Like that was
That's
it.
so lovely.
Yeah.
What are the ages of like all of you?
So Ember and Sam were both 21. So they were the youngest. And then me, Lara and Sean were all about 25, 26, I think.
Nice.
Yeah. And then Laura, who played Paige, how was she? She was older, I think. Around 26 as well.
Yeah, because I feel like I felt fooled by the ages completely and wouldn't have known that.
But it was a thing. It was a thing to make sure we all looked
And
young.
I think absolutely
You do.
smashed that.
Yeah.
But also just felt young. Like we felt really, like we all literally were like children. It was a bit mad. Like everything, like all the behind the scenes videos that we have of each other and stuff, like you'd think we've like stepped off out of school.
Regressed.
Yeah, we really had. We'd hit our regression.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how did that play into the shooting schedule? Did you shoot the heavy scenes together and the party scenes together, or was it all over?
So we shot all the party scenes for the first like 3 weeks.
Great.
Which was actually amazing because we kind of all came into it obviously fresher than the end. So it was like we could do that because they were all night shoots. And it was full on, and they had like 300 essays at some points, which was mental. And in these clubs that were really, really hot. So it was crazy, but it was also really real. Like it felt like we were really there, and we were just running off adrenaline, I think, for those 3 weeks. And then it really helped kind of doing the more intimate scenes after, going from these really crazy loads of people to then like either just, or like when Tara's like walking down the street, like just all of that. I think that was one of the first days after all this party stuff. So it was like all of a sudden I felt really alone because I was like, oh my God, I've gone through from like, there's like 300 people in a room and then it's just me walking down this street. So it was like, it really like mentally was helpful kind of going from that chaos to just sitting in it, I think. Yeah.
And what about the drunk acting? How did you get there?
So a lot of it was hyperness.
Okay, great.
Like we were all very hyper all together. Like if we were all here now, you'd think we're all drunk now. Like I don't know what it is. Isabella, amazing at casting, managed to cast these people that get together and just seem drunk. And we also did this really good trick of spinning around in circles before they called action, because it does make you wobbly, but also makes you feel really, really sick. And you know what it's like you're spinning and then they're like, oh, hang on, I need to adjust the mic, or I need to adjust the light. And you're like, I am going to throw up. So that was a really good trick that we would do as well, which was really helpful. And somewhere Molly has said that she's got loads of footage of us just like spinning around. But like loads of people that were maybe on set for like the day, or like some of the essays that had come in, like they'd be like, what the hell are they doing? We'd all just be like spinning around.
They're in
like,
a cult?
Yeah, this is weird. I don't want to be a part of this. Strange.
I've got a really random question about the extras.
Go for it.
Were they, because you shot those scenes in Malia, right? Were they local? How did they get them?
No, most of them, they had flown out from the UK.
That's mad.
Yes, because like you could just tell
Yeah.
that they, you know, weren't like fake tanned and like bleached hair and everything from Greece. They like didn't look like Brits abroad. So yeah, they kind of flew out, flew out like 200.
Wow.
What was the budget of this film? Do you know? Because
It was a small budget. It wasn't a big budget.
Yeah.
Greece has great tax relief. I think that's what it is. Yeah. Molly spoke about that. Like, it's great for... And there was a point, which I've never experienced in my life, the line producer came up to Molly and was like, we have more time and more money. What do you want? On a film set.
Yeah.
That's so good.
What on earth is that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how good Molly is. She just...
Yeah. Keep your money.
Keep your money. I've got it. I can do it. Shoot in 3 days, we're done. Yeah. It's so good as well, you know, because like since in that film, I have gone into a lot of places where they are working with various people from the film. And it's like, I think it's the first set I've been on where everyone was genuinely just hearts of pure gold. So I'm like, oh, I'm so glad that like,
How is your
They're
next
doing the
job
rounds.
gonna live up to it?
I
mean,
know.
You've probably worked since then, but like, how is it?
yeah, I mean, I was petrified. I was like, how do I just take this entire crew?
Yeah.
Because it's exceptional being on a set like that and going, it works. Like, you can just have a group of really, really good people that love what they do. But touch wood, so far, it's been going really well.
Good.
Great. Well, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you.
We'd love to know, because we're tracking you now, Mia. So what are you doing next?
So next, I'm literally, as of Monday, working on a film called The Scurry, which is like a comedy, thriller, horror. So quite different. But I'm really, really excited. And Craig Roberts is directing, who is just incredible. Yeah, I'm really excited.
Friend of the podcast.
Oh,
we did an
bro.
episode with him on
Phantom of the Open.
That's it.
I love that film.
Yeah, I mean, I've really wanted to work with him for a really long time. So I was like super excited about this. And yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. And just, something really different. That's what I wanted to do, something different from How to Have Sex. And this is really different.
It sounds it.
Do you have any idea on what Molly's doing next? Because I tried to find online and I couldn't
I
see.
don't know exactly what she's doing next. I know she's writing at the moment. Cool. And Molly is not one to wait. She's like, I want to get making next year. Bearing in mind she doesn't have anything written yet.
Yeah.
She's like, I want to start making it next year. And I'm like, oh, you do you.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be amazing whatever she does for sure. But yeah, she's in Paris writing for 3 months.
Nice.
And I'm really excited to see. She had lots of amazing ideas. So I'm really excited to see what she goes for.
Amazing.
And hopefully, we'll get to work together again.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Dying to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, I'm gonna get to some Letterboxd reviews. So Hannah Leveridge has given it 4.5 stars, and she said, I believe it says she. My name's Hannah. After this film ended, I was in tears and I looked around me and saw every other woman under the age of about 30 was crying too. I will preface and say I'm over 30 and I was crying my eyes out. It's frustrating to see some of the early reviews from men who claim it doesn't start a conversation because you could feel in the room that for many women who likely know all of these characters in their lives, it did. Films like this remind me of how starved I am of female filmmakers sometimes. So glad I braved the rain for this one.
Oh, love
That's
that.
amazing.
True.
Yeah.
That, the song at the end.
Mommy.
Yeah.
So good. This is Maisie's like favorite song in the world.
Yeah, I think my Spotify rap said that I played that song 315 times in one day last year.
Wow. I mean,
know.
it's
Like, am I okay?
No.
I am now. Then I was not okay.
You don't have to be so strong.
Yeah,
But when I watched this film and then that came up on the credits and this was when you were in that was happening, I was like, oh my God, when Maisie sees her, she's going to like break down.
Yeah.
bless you.
It really did what it needed to.
Yeah, it's definitely that song. Just like you're like, some people have seen it and they're teetering on the edge, and then the song comes and it's like, okay, we're gone now.
Everyone.
But we've got it on t-shirts as well.
Love that.
Yeah. Again, they're gonna send me the t-shirt and they just keep gonna send me.
You really need to
Someone
check
has
one of these
it on
things.
Yeah,
Are you sure they know where you live?
I don't think so. Or maybe they're just trying to pacify me. Yeah, Mia will send you all the merch. Like, literally, look at these stickers. Like, they're rubbing off so much. I'm like, please give me another one.
Maybe some like old lady somewhere in
Yeah,
Kent is just getting.
it's got them all.
Yeah.
Well, as long as she's
collecting all
happy,
the
I suppose.
Alex has said on Letterboxd, Shout out Badger. I hope he killed his friend.
There was like after one screening, someone was like shouting down the street like, "I'd do time for Tara." I was like, "Yeah, go on then."
Please be careful, Sam Bottomley. Like, we're worried about you. And then Aaron said, hit like an absolute brick the minute the credits rolled.
Yeah,
true.
so true.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Well, usually we do final thoughts, but
It's just so lovely to hear you chat about this movie.
Yeah,
I love talking about it, and I think like obviously just the more we can talk about it, the better, and more films like it get made. That's the goal.
Yeah.
do you know what as well? This is just testament to a really good, lengthy research process, because this film stands up to me like Rockstars of like a true representation. And they had a really lengthy research process with casting and with like finding out from kids what it's like to be a kid.
Yeah.
So it works, and hopefully more
work.
people can get funded to do stuff like that.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a movie that's like educational. It feels like a really amazing movie, and then it also happens to be really educational, and it's just like it holds up in all of those places. It's so interesting how it was made, like the process behind it. It's just like very special.
Also, it didn't take long. Like it didn't take a long time. It was only like 3 years from when Molly wrote it, or even 2 years from when she wrote it that she got it made. But that included obviously that rehearsals, the research, all of it. So it can be done, and it doesn't have to take a lot. Because I think that's what would put some people off, maybe doing the rehearsals or the research, because it takes longer. But they managed to do it all in like 2-3 years. Yeah,
I think
so
it's like a mixture of a lot of things though, because Molly's obviously a really talented writer.
Yeah.
Maybe
very talented writer, and very, I think, open, like really open. So open to all of our ideas as well, and open to, it was the first time I've been on a set and not been scared to like say what I thought, which was amazing to kind of be given that space as well. Like as an actor, kind of feeling like, oh, I like can say something that is okay and not be scared to. For me that was like huge growth.
really cool. Well, glad it was as fulfilling as it is to watch it. And if you haven't seen it already, please go and check it out. It's on Mubi. Please follow us now, if you like. On TikTok and Instagram, we're at Frank Film Club. You can reach out to us, filmclub@rap.world. If you want to talk about this film, or if you want to suggest other films that we should watch, let us know.
Next week, we're going to be watching Jennifer's Body, which you can watch on Disney+. So go over there and have a little watch. It's a classic, but these two haven't seen it, so I'm going to be hosting the episode, don't worry. Go and watch the movie and enjoy it, and we'll see you back here next week for more Frank Film Club.
This podcast was presented by Wrapped.